TV apps in the respective app store on iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure you rate and leave a comment. Both apps are free.
ZingoTV is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire Stick and TV sticks, Roku and Roku sticks, also on all smart TVs 2016 forward. So I'm Warren J, and welcome to Controlled Chaos.
I'm Tamara Siobhan. So much to talk about this week.
It's eventful. Like, life is just, it's a nonstop news cycle, man. Yeah. Jesus, where should we start? So the election, that's playing out in real time in very bizarre ways right now.
Dude, Trump's like a boyfriend that won't accept that you broke up with him.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what it reminds me of right now? The contesting of the election in certain states. It's like, the end of Happy Gilmore, where like Adam Sandler wins the tournament and then Shooter McGavin runs up and takes the green jacket and he's like putting it on and running away from the crowd. It's
Literally.
like that, you got all the Pennsylvania voters like, excuse me, that jacket belongs to Mr. Biden. Like, it's a complete madness. I don't know what the hell is happening. Like, who's even, it's weird, man. This has never happened.
I just love how they're like, Trump, Biden's president. He's just like, no.
He's like, hey, we'll see about that.
Like, yeah, we weren't posing it as a question.
Yeah, it's really, really weird. Like, I didn't expect him to be gracious in defeat. I think this would have happened no matter who won, because like you had the Democrats saying that like if Trump won, they were going to contest it, and then Trump's like, so I feel like this is just like a complete power grab at this point. This is like political mud wrestling. It's just whoever wins is, like no one's taking it very well, I don't think.
I mean, I'm trying not to be that into politics because like it's all just like crazy, but like this is pretty bad. Like it's
yeah. It's not like, graceful. like I like that is one thing I like about what Trump did in politics is he really brought the entertainment value to it and just made it a total blood sport. Like at this point, it's like the same type of. I feel like I'm watching Love and Hip Hop. Like it's just it's like trash TV, but just like politics. That's like a lot of important things are hanging in the balance, but at the same time. It's like the part of me that enjoys watching like trash reality TV is like kind of getting a kick out of this.
I feel like I'm watching wrestling. Like, honestly, I feel like Donald Trump's the most insane heel of all time, which I mean, he actually was in wrestling. So it's I feel like, like, I don't know. It's all come full circle, but it's this whole thing where I'm like, I don't think they're going to be like moving into the office and he's still going to be sitting there. He's going to have to be removed by like authorities.
Yeah, he's like a tenant that won't, like the eviction notice has been served.
Yeah, and he's squatting.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh my God, it's insane. Like, I like that. That's the one thing I kind of found relatable about him in the beginning was like his pettiness. Like, you remember in the Republican primaries, that debate, he took time out of a presidential debate to address a comment that Marco Rubio made about the size of his hands and how like that. He's like, Mr. Senator Rubio made a comment also about my hands must be small and so everything must be smaller. He's like, not everything is that way. That I can tell you. I'm like, wow, dude, you are like next level petty. Like, that's so funny. Like just the thinnest skin ever, right? Like, this is so good.
Speaking of petty, though, can I tell you about the pettiest thing that I've seen all week?
Yes.
Because I wasn't even going to tell you this, but it was so petty that like reminded me of it.
Okay.
It didn't remind me. I'll never forget this. But yesterday, I was leaving Mississauga to come back to Toronto, and then there was like a comedy show, and my friend had a comedy show. It was on a patio, so I was like, okay, heated patio. That's a whole other thing. It's just like, it's not cute anymore. But heated patio. And I'm like, okay, you're pretty much like, light me on fire, please. And so whatever. I'm at this patio. This comedy show's going on. It's going really well. And then some woman just appears. And I'm like, what is going on? And she has her dog. And she has a squeaky toy. And she's squeaking, moving closer to the comedy show, trying to get her dog to start barking and like being aggressive. And I'm like, what's going on right now? They're like, oh, she doesn't like that the comedy show happens here. She's already called the cops on us, and the cops already came and said that there's like nothing that we were doing wrong, just to make sure all the alcohol stays on the patio. And so she tries to ruin the show every week. Every week, dude.
Every week?
It was like, 9 p.m.
Is it right by where her house is or something? Like, does she live right there and it's just like making noise, or does she just not like people having joy in their lives at all? Like, is she one of those people,
It was like the patio, a full park,
Hmm.
and then her house on the other side.
Oh boy, Revenge of the
Her dog was
Karens.
trying to get her dog riled up, and the dog's like, I don't want to. And I'm like, this is so embarrassing.
I love how she's making this poor dog complicit to her, like her just crabbiness, you know.
She's making the
Oh,
dog follow through with like her pettiness. And he's like, I'm just like, where are the treats? Like,
yeah. Oh my God, that's so sad. People are brutal, man. Like I don't know why, you know. Like it's such a bad, especially now. It's like, can't people just have something, you know, in their lives? Like it's just the whole world's falling apart. Like let people enjoy a comedy show for God's sake. This is madness.
yeah, it's like the last thing we could do, and pretty much like the last day we can do it.
Oh
So
God.
I
People are the worst, man.
that was out of control chaos.
Yeah. There's no control there at all. This is just like some lady with a vendetta, you know.
Well, I know, but what's your week been like? What have you been doing?
My week's been interesting. So I had, I don't know what it is with grocery shopping during this pandemic. Like all the weirdos are out now. Stuff happens that never used to happen before. So I was at No Frills,
Ooh,
and this guy
living
walks up.
large.
Yeah. Like I'm just, you know, I'm a frugal guy, right? So I go to No Frills where I can get like $300 worth of stuff for 200, and I see this dude. I hear him. I hear this like weird maniacal cackling from like 2 aisles over, like someone's just like like just this weird, strange laugh. And I'm like, okay, what the hell is going on over here, right? I'm pushing my cart, and I've got 2 things of like salad dressing in it, and like I always okay. I facetiously joke about being old, but then I realize like I'm not that old because I don't know Paul Newman from his movies. Like I only know him from having the salad dressing, right? Like at one point, Paul Newman was an actor, I guess, right? And then I don't know what made him decide to give up in Hollywood, but he like took his acting money and decided to parlay it into a salad dressing empire. And now he makes like pretty good salad dressing. So
That's
I had
just
2 bottles.
happen.
Yeah, I had 2 bottles of Newman's Own in my cart, and I'm like, I'm standing there with it, and then I see the man appear, the man behind the laugh, and this dude he wasn't pushing a cart, he didn't even have a basket, he was just kind of wandering aimlessly, laughing around the grocery store, and he walks up to me, and he's like, hey man, can I buy those off you? And he points at the salad dressing, and I'm like, what? Like, I thought like this guy's taking the piss or like he's just joking. Like, I didn't really know what was going on. And I'm like, I can look at him for a second. He's like, seriously, like he's like waiting for a reply. And I'm just like sitting there and like, I don't know. The older, less ethical me starts thinking like, should I just sell this guy 2 bottles of Newman's Own and then just go and grab 2 more? Because like I hadn't paid for it yet, right? Like I just part of me wanted to be like, you know what, buddy? Like these are $2 a piece. I'm gonna give you a great deal, $3 for both of them right now, right? And just to see if he would do it. Because like more for the story than wanting to, I don't need the money, but you know, like I just thought that it would be really funny. But then I don't know, I just like I send him over there. I'm like, well, dude, I'm like they're just in that aisle over there. He's like, okay, cool. And he continues walking over because I didn't know also. I'm like, maybe this guy's like inebriated or he's like, you know, mentally not all there. Yeah, like day drunk or something, right? Like he seemed like he was a few sandwiches shy of a picnic. So I didn't want to like take this man's money in the middle of the grocery store. He didn't have like he didn't have anything else in his hands or anything. Like I don't know if he was just having a good time. And then he wanders over and just leaves, and no one else like acknowledged that this was happening. Everyone else is just like sitting there. They got their masks. They're completely focused on whatever the hell they're doing. And it was like one of those moments where I started to question my own sanity. You know, like, does that ever happen to you where something so weird happens and no one else acknowledges it?
Yeah, and everyone just acts like nothing's happening.
Yeah. And I'm just like, did that actually happen? Or am I hallucinating this like weirdness? Like it felt so surreal. But you know what? It was with the whole like everyone's attitudes and how serious everybody is nowadays. Like that was like the best thing that happened to me that day. Like it reminded me of a simpler time, you know, where people used to have fun with each other and like interact with strangers and have these little moments.
Yeah.
So it was like mildly enjoyable that he did that. But then I forgot that they were doing a repair in my building on the electrical work. And so I had like bags and bags of groceries. This was the day I decided to do like a big grocery trip. And the elevator was out. So I had to like lug all this crap up 12 flights of stairs in the dark.
No.
Yeah, it was brutal, man. My timing. That was like the one day I decided to get stuff done. I also had a cat food delivery coming, and I do like when I get cat food, I just like buy like 3 months. I do it like once every quarter. So there's just like flats of cans of food and bags and stuff. And that delivery arrived too at 7 o'clock. And so I had to like do the Iron Man like relay of
Yeah, parkour. Like,
yeah.
So
Heavy grocery items and cat food up the stairs. So that was pretty miserable.
literally, you literally joined a CrossFit gym.
Well, yeah, I mean, like the gyms are closed, right? You got to do what you got to do, right? Get a workout in somehow. So that was pretty much what I did. What about you? What's your week been like?
I mean, I've just been in like Mississauga getting home cooked meals, which has been really nice. So like
Nice.
coming back today to my actual place, and it's like weird that I'm living in like two homes, I guess, but whatever. Like came back to my place and like immediately was like, oh, I have a dried up orange and salsa. I'm like, what? Like, how does it come down to this? Like, what is going on right now? So I obviously like I'm gonna order Uber Eats, which I literally ordered so long ago. I was like, I'm gonna order Uber Eats. I'm gonna have a nice little dinner. It's gonna all be delivered in hand package. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then I look at my app and I guess I never really pay attention because I haven't ordered Uber Eats in so long. I guess I like missed this transition. But they're like, yeah, Cindy is walking with your order. It's like, okay, well, don't do that. Like, don't don't do what I could do and like shame me with this food. Like, it's like
Yeah.
Cindy got off of her bed and walked towards the store like everybody else could, and then Cindy got your food, which is like 2 blocks away from your house. But Cindy came from Yorkdale, and you're like, okay, relax. Cindy wants to work. Like, it's
Yes.
like, and then you're looking at this and you're like, I literally could have just done this and saved $20.
Cindy's a high achiever. Yeah, I feel like it's the same, dude. I feel I order way more Uber Eats than I should, and I can't justify it anymore. Because yeah, it's the money thing. It's like once you get like if you're tipping and you got like the delivery fee and the service fee and all that stuff, like you're paying an extra $20 on top of whatever your order is. It's like McDonald's costs like, for one person's meal is like $30. It's insane.
Whoa, what do you order at McDonald's?
I don't know. I got like, well, see, if I'm getting Uber Eats and I got to pay all those extra fees, like that's when I feel this Uber Eats compels me to be a fat ass. I have to like justify the size of the purchase for all of these fees. So I'll get like way more than I normally get, like a McChicken meal with like 2 extra bacon cheeseburgers and like a poutine and like, like I'm just upsizing all of this stuff. Like it's so bad. My physical fitness has taken a beating from Uber Eats. Like another thing I've been doing is like, because again, I'm kind of a frugal guy. Like I look for the 2-for-1 deals on Uber Eats.
Oh God, what are those?
Well, sometimes it's 2-for-1, like poutine. Poutine is one thing that I see on 2-for-1 deals every now and then. And then, so I end up ordering like 2 poutines. They're like $18 a piece or something, but like you get 2-for-1. So it's like, it still works out to being like $15 a poutine because otherwise you're getting a single poutine and it's going to cost you like $40, right, for this thing. So I'm like, I get 2-for-1 and then I like end up eating 2 poutines in one night and I just feel horrible about myself.
No, we got to contact Uber. Like, this is like, they're exploiting us.
It's insanity. Like I feel like I get the upsell every single time because some part of me, like my cheapness overpowers my like desire to be fit. And so I end up making these sacrifices that are just like, they're terrible. Like my health is in decline because of my spending habits. So yeah, it's pretty awful.
Man, like my boyfriend, who is literally the cheapest person in the world. Like the other day I wanted nuggets because I always want nuggets. Like nuggets are the future. Like nuggets are the past. Nuggets are the present. Like if you ever offer me a nugget, there's never a time I'm gonna say no. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I want to get nuggets. And he like looked at me super dad was like, we have food at home. I have to go home and like drink soup. I'm like, okay. He's like, don't you feel so much better with how much money we're saving? It's like, no, I don't want to drink my food. I want nuggets. Like they're completely different. Like at least have like chicken at home, like something along the lines of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Have like a completely different meal that I need a different utensil for.
Yeah, like, babe, we've got orange and salsa at home. We can make like a little black box challenge. Like we're on Chopped. It'll be fun, you know. Like, see how we can combine these ingredients.
I should try to make something with just those two ingredients. What could you even make with that?
I don't know. I think there's not a whole lot you can make with that. You can
An
make
orange
someone.
salsa, I guess.
You can make a disappointment with that.
What would I actually have? I guess it wouldn't be. I need to go grocery shopping. Is basically the moral of that story for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I'm super shiny right now, but that's because like I tried to put lavender oil on my face and ended up putting a bunch of CBD oil on my face, so this could go south.
Is it like absorb into the skin? Like there's an effect, like it's a topical cream type of thing?
Yeah, and that happened to me the other day. Like I ended up putting this like conditioner like on my hands as lotion, and I just keep like mixing my bottles up, and I don't have that many, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I I don't know. My mom has been using accidentally. Did I tell you this story? I saw her like lotioning her hand. She's like, "This is the best lotion I've ever had. It's so smooth, really good, like really absorbent." And I was like, "Mom, that's lube." The Vaseline version. So she thought she was putting like Vaseline lotion on her
Yeah.
hands, and I'm like, "Oh." And she's like, "Well, I'm not gonna stop because it's actually smooth for me." And I'm like, "Well, people are gonna look at you in public." Like,
Yeah.
she's elderly, so I guess it looks cute. Like,
Yeah,
people will be like, "Aw."
oh, isn't that adorable? Lubing up her hands.
Seriously, oh man. I feel like
Wow.
we can move on to the next segment, do we?
Yeah, sure. We can jump into that. So we are doing topics from a hat, everybody, and
Yeah.
you've got your hat today.
Yes, I have this beautiful hat. I forgot that I have so many hats. I went hat shopping.
Ooh, look at that one.
I went to H&M to get them because the key thing about getting hats at H&M is that you need to get them in the men's section for any women that are listening or watching, because they're the exact same hat, but they put like a silver like owl on the side and then it's $20 more. But you just go to the men's section, it's the exact same hat and it's $20 cheaper. So just side note.
There you go. It's like it looks like an Indiana Jones hat almost. See that?
Yeah. So
Oh, yeah, okay.
do you want to explain what topics from a hat is?
Yeah, topics from a hat is pretty self-explanatory. We draw a topic from a hat, and we don't know what to expect. It's just going to come up a random thing, and then we get to talk about it, tell stories that relate to the particular topic that we are going to draw. So that's that.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
First topic. Oh, I'm nervous.
What do we got?
Camping. Oh, buddy.
Camping. Oh, Lord. I've got some camping stories.
I got some camping stories.
Okay, sweet. Do you got one? Do you want to go first or should I?
I do want to go first just because I feel like we're going to have different stories about camping.
Yeah.
And yours is going to be like the cute white way of camping, and mine's going to be like the horrified experience that I had. I went camping. I think I remember camping differently than what it is now, or maybe I just used to be younger and I like thought it was cool or something. But I hadn't gone camping in like 15 years, and I just need to date back to why that is, because that must have been the reason why I didn't go again. When you get to the relationship, you're like, yeah, for sure, like, yeah, oh my god, let's have this experience together. Let's stay outside in the woods. Let's pay to look broke. Like,
yeah, pay to be homeless for the week.
You're literally paying to be homeless. Like, zip up our door. I'm like, I don't know about all this. And so I literally was like, okay, let's go camping. We go to this place, Mara. It's like in Aurelia. And so like we're just like we're only an hour and 15 minutes or 20 minutes outside the city. But bro, we were like what's the thing? Back camping? Like deep wood camping?
Like back country, like what was it? Yeah. Like off, like on a logging trail type of a thing, like not at a campsite.
Yeah, see, I didn't even know what that was. I was just like, click, click, like. And so we go there, and the first day, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have some like beers, some wine. It's gonna be fun. Like the sun's still out. It's such a different time when the sun's out. And then the sun starts going down. You start getting like scared, and coyotes are like ooh, ooh or whatever they do. And I'm like, I don't know about all this. I learned how to build a fire. Horrible. Won't never do it again. Terrifying. Like, whatever. Like, the fire was nice, but like the axe and the lack of light. Anyway, so, but I tried to get dressed. The first experience I have as soon as we get to camping and I start having a couple drinks, I get there and I'm like, okay, I'm going to put my bathing suit on, but it's COVID. This is Canada Day weekend.
Mm.
So I'm like, I don't want to change in like a bathroom where everyone's changing. I'm going to change in the tent. Everyone just doesn't flinch. So I'm thinking that's a normal thing to do. Not realizing people don't change in tents because it's the worst. Okay, I get in there. It's July. It's like, you know, it's almost, well, it's June 30th. Okay, it's like so hot. It's like 30 degrees. I'm in this tent. I start like sweating. I start having a full-blown meltdown about how much I'm sweating, trying to put this one-piece bathing suit on. My friend's in the tent with me, and I'm just like, she's like, this is like looking really rough. I start putting it on. I'm like sweating. I'm like, this is insane. And finally I get it on. I'm like, why does it feel so weird? Like, why does this feel so weird? Because you can't see yourself. And I look down. I put my bathing suit on backwards. I start crying, having a full-blown breakdown. So like, this is so annoying. Like, why can't I just have a normal life? Like, why are we coming to this stupid place? Like, honestly, why though? Like, you know? So I think that I'm having the biggest meltdown of the whole camping trip. And a lot of things happened in between. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I wasn't the most pleasant person to be around. I did drive to Tim Hortons every day to get my breakfast because I was not making like, you know, sausage links on a grate at 7 a.m. Like, no.
Yeah.
And I felt really high maintenance, but I was like, I can't. Like, one day I considered sleeping in the car. Like, it was just like a whole thing. And so far I'm taking the cake and being the worst to be around. Okay. And then Canada Day happens, and we're all at the beach. Things are fine. Whatever. We come back. We have this fire. And then everyone's kind of getting cranky because we've been, like, just, you know, drinking 2-4s and, like, whatever. And then we hear something in the back, like, in the distance. And I think that they're, like, animals at first. I'm like, okay, maybe that's, like, an animal. It's, like, a screechy sound. I'm like, oh, I wonder what that is. And then I start, like, it starts getting clearer and a little closer. And it's a woman screaming. And I'm like, what is going on? And so we're all sitting by the fire trying to like pretend we don't want to do anything about it. Like, we don't want to like be nosy and like investigate what's going on there. Also, like, if we all go, I'm going to be the person that dies first. Like, everyone knows this in a scary movie.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to do all of that. And so finally it's getting super close. And I just like look at everyone and I'm like, do you want to go check it out? And they're like, yeah, let's go check it out. So we go. This is the drunkest woman I've ever seen, bro. Drunkest woman screaming like, you can't stop me. No, she was in my face. Like screaming, rolling around on the floor, like on the grass. Being like, don't touch me. Don't touch me. People are trying to give her water. She's like, I don't want water. Like losing her mind. And I was like, yo, white women are going off. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking like nothing's going to happen. Whoop, whoop. That's the sound of the park police. So like the park police come and I'm like, oh, this is so cute. Whatever. They're trying to be like, ma'am, you need to stop. She's like, get away from me. She's like trying to attack them. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going on. And I was like, guys, listen, literally, like, does anybody know why this woman's triggered? They're like, well, some girl went to her campsite and started yelling at her to be quiet. And then she woke up out of her sleep because she wasn't being quiet. She wasn't being loud because she was the one sleeping. Then started yelling at this girl and then just wouldn't stop yelling. So it's like, you awoke a beast. Like,
you want me to be quiet? No, not anymore.
Right? And so I'm like, this is nuts. So she starts losing it. They can't handle how crazy she is. They call the regional police. So now they're like, so now like the actual like Aurelia police are rolling through. And she's just like screaming still, like, don't touch me. Where is she? No water. Like, same thing. I'm like, guys, this is the last episode of Cops. Like, what's happening? This is the season finale. Like, we get to witness it.
Oh, God.
And they can't even keep her under control. And then the OPP come. Like, the highway police. Like, the police. Like, the OPP. Yeah, you know me. Roll up.
Wow.
Her tune starts changing real quick. Suddenly she snaps out of it. She's like, oh, like, what are they doing here? And I'm like, what are they doing here, bro? Like, have you not seen your performance? Like,
Jesus God.
Well, they put her in cuffs and then they're like putting her in the back seat. They're trying to get her in the back seat. She's fighting and resisting. They keep trying to put her in. She's fighting and resisting. They just shove her into the back seat like they were like stuffing a turkey and slammed the door, and everyone started applauding. Like, yo, this girl is really getting drunk for Canada. Like, she is really about Canada Day. Like,
Wow.
no one's partying harder for Canada than this woman. Like,
so they took her to the drunk tank, or like took her away, and like she went to jail that night.
Yeah, she went to jail that night. Then I left the next day, and I was like, honestly, not even the worst person on the trip.
Yeah, isn't that nice when you're like, you think you made a total ass of yourself and annoyed everyone, and then like somebody upstages you, and like all of a sudden everyone forgets about whatever the thing was that you did, then they're like, you're not that bad anymore. Like the bar has just been raised by somebody else. I love
Honestly,
that.
If that woman's listening, or if you end up listening to this at a later date, I really appreciate all of the hard work and effort that you put into getting that drunk for Canada, and I will think of you every Canada Day.
Yeah, she was the MVP for sure.
Yeah. What's your camping story though? What like? Cause I'm like, I know that one was out of control, and also I'm never going camping again. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, on the note of what you're saying about changing the tent, that's it. One thing I hate the most about changing about tents is like you gotta like duck, like while you're in the thing, you're like ducking down because the tents are always so short, right? So you're just like putting your clothes on, like you gotta put a shirt on that you're like bent over, hunched, so you gotta like pull it on in like the most awkward way possible.
It's literally brutal.
Yeah, I hate that. Okay, so yeah, I do have I've got a few camping stories, but this one definitely was the chart topper, I think. So let me see now. Where do I start? We went to Squamish. This is when I was living in BC, and Squamish kind of near Whistler a little bit, right? We'd go camping. It was like an every year thing that we would go out and do this big trip, and it'd be like on a logging road because everyone would just get like super wasted. We'd make tons of noise. Like we would get thrown out of a provincial campground like that, you know what I mean? Like there's no question. It just is cuckoo bananas. Everyone is like completely out of control. So we go to this place, and first I went up with a couple buddies, and we went up one day early. So this was like on the Thursday. This is like a 3-day like thing. I think it was Thursday, and then maybe we left Sunday. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Thursday, the first night, it was like 4 of us, I believe, and we had a drinking contest to see like who could drink the most that trip, and we were just like shotgunning beers. You like drinking like an irresponsible amount of drinking. I don't drink like this anymore, you know what I mean? I barely drink actually now, but this was like a totally different time. I was a bit of a wild man, and we all were, and so that was like the whole point of the trip was everyone would just drink their face off. And so we had a drinking contest. We knew it would be no contest because my one buddy Derek would always just get like, this dude could drink like nobody's business, right? So we knew that he was going to be the winner, but we wanted to see who the contenders were going to be. Yeah. I think I drank like in a 24-hour period, probably like 20 beers in a 24-hour period or something, like just absolute. Yeah. Right, like just irresponsibly drunk, and me and my buddy Bill got into a wrestling match. Like we got, I forget what we were wrestling about. It was something, we had like an argument, and then we were just like wrestling each other, like tackled him to the ground, and I was on top of this guy. Like it was like we weren't like wrestling, like actually fighting, but I was like giving them these like little like slaps like in the face like that, where I'm just like, Bill, I'm like, agree to disagree, and he wouldn't do it. I was just like, I'll let you go, but you got to agree to disagree. That was all he had to say. I agree to disagree, right? Those are the simplest terms. It's not like, oh, I surrender, uncle, or like, make like emasculate the guy too much. It's just like, agree to disagree. Like slaps like this for like 20 minutes. I did this. I was on top of him, and he wouldn't stop. It was like a battle of attrition. This man was just like, I give him all the credit in the world. He kept trying to get up, and everyone's just like, Bill, agree to disagree. I was like filming it on their phones. Like it was like a 30-minute match. We're just like so gassed by the end of it, and then finally he's just like, okay, I do. We're like, you do what? He's like, I agree to disagree. Yeah, like, yeah. So that was,
did actually say it. That's dope.
He did say it at the end. Well, I mean, I wasn't gonna let him go. We had all night. Like, what's the point, right? We're men, we're getting drunk. We're gonna have these little contests. So yeah, that was night number 1. Okay, so I got so obliterated night number 1. And then the second night rolls around. This is when everybody else comes up there. We moved from, I think we might have actually been at a provincial campsite for that one night because it was just the four of us.
Yeah.
And then we moved to the logging road campsite for the second day. Now this was pretty cool. There was this guy there, since it was on a logging road, a log, like a truck came down with these logs on the back of it, and I think it had started to rain that day, so like all the firewood that we had, like everything was getting rained on. So we brought up like a bunch of pallets and stuff like that, and these lumberjacks stopped, and they had like the claw thing in the back of the truck to take the logs on and off of it. These dudes actually take the thing, they lift a big log up, drop it, take another log, drop it on top of that one, so it's like perpendicular, so you can like saw it. Guy leaves a chainsaw. He's like, here guys, like we're gonna be back, in a little while, and they just like blessed us with like 2 trees worth of wood. What? It was amazing. Yeah, I was just like, dude, this is got like solid guys, right? Just some good old country folks, and they gave us these trees to chop up, so that was nice. And then we put the pallets and stuff on top of that, so we built this big ass bonfire, right? This thing was huge, and because like pallets that you load stuff on, right? Like they leave them behind stores, so we took a bunch of those, and we had like it was probably like an 8-foot tall fire, right? Real big. Now there was this sort of yearly tradition. Every year that I would go up there, I would jump over the fire, right? Like Jack be nimble. I would just jump this fire.
Oh no, I don't like where this is going.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty obvious where this is going, right? It's not there's no plot twist here. It ends exactly how you think it would end.
Oh,
so
no.
Yeah, so I go and I'm like this was at a random time too. Like I didn't announce that I was gonna do it because everyone's like, Warren, when are you gonna jump the fire? I was like, don't worry, I'm gonna jump the fire. But like I didn't want to like psych it up like it's like I'm Evil Knievel or something and have everyone like looking and waiting and then get all like psyched out in the moment.
Yeah.
So what do you call it? This was I'm like I look over at my buddy Steven, I'm like, hey Steve, guess what time it is? And he's like, what? And I'm like, time to jump the fire. And then I just go up and I run, and there was like one log like kind of seesawed across the middle, like because the fire was too big to just like jump from the ground to one other like side. Like I'm not a super athletic guy, right?
You're doing some American Ninja Warrior stuff right now.
Yeah, so I like kind of went like up this like log, and then the middle, it was like weak in the middle, and it just broke, and my legs like plunged into the fire. And so my legs, I'm like like standing in the fire. I'm just like, oh my god! And I like jump out and like roll around on the ground, and like nobody saw that I was gonna do that. Steve was like the only dude who saw what was happening, and everyone else is like, what the hell just happened? Like I'm like rolling around on the ground. They're like, dude, are you okay? Like you fell into the fire? I'm like, yeah, and like my pant leg got like all melted and like burned up. My leg actually got I got burned like super bad. Luckily, my buddy's wife was there, and she was a nurse, and so she was able to do like first aid and put a bandage on it and like treat it. Like she brought up like all this stuff. I was like, oh my god, thank god there's a responsible adult in the crowd, like because otherwise it would have been so bad. And everyone's like, oh, you should go to the hospital. And I was like, no, I'm not going to the hospital. Like it's Friday, like I don't want to do that. And like luckily back in these days, this was different time in my life. I was a little I had a painkiller phase that I went through. So I'm like, guys, I'm like, I've got OxyContin, it's fine. Like,
no, I love you just casually bring that up like a housewife in Orange County. You're just like, not a painkiller thing.
Yeah, just casually like, don't worry guys, I'm like, I brought my own meds. This is gonna be okay. Like I wasn't planning for this type of thing, but it really worked out. So I did that. I took a bunch of pain pills and like soldiered through the weekend. And then Saturday, so by Friday, like I had drank so much. In the first night I drank all of that. Saturday I couldn't even drink. Like I was having like pains, like serious, like I screwed up like my I eroded my stomach lining so that I couldn't even I just hurt myself with booze.
From throwing up?
No, just from drinking a bunch, and probably from the painkillers probably didn't help it. But like, I actually was like so screwed up from like I had to take like a week off of work when I got back. Like I was not in good shape. My parents were not impressed. It was like it was pretty bad. So yeah, like I had to go to the doctor's office, and like we're picking up we're at the grocery store. They give me a prescription for like I don't know, Zantac or whatever, some sort of a thing to get this like for your stomach lining. And then this guy in the aisle is like overhearing like what he was overhearing what we were talking about. It was like, yeah, I was on a camping trip. I drank too much. Now I got to get this to like recover antacids to like get my stomach lining back into shape. And this guy, like some concerned dude, is just like looking over. He's like, you know, I used to have a really bad drinking problem when I was younger. If you'd like to, you can come to a meeting. Like he like tried to get me to come to an AA meeting. And I was like, no, dude, like I don't drink. I binge drink, right? I'm like, I'm you know, excess and moderation. I don't drink all the time, lots, right? I just get really wasted when I go on these trips. And yeah, but he like didn't believe me, you know, like, you know how addicts lie about their problems. So yeah, it was pretty embarrassing, that, and I would say that that's probably my most, I don't know, it wasn't my finest moment camping, but you know, I'm not ashamed to admit that I did something dumb.
I just love how you are like, yeah, this guy, like, I'm not an alcoholic, and he just like looks down at your leg, and you're like, okay, let me explain.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, sure. Like, he just didn't believe me. I was like, no, dude, like, I swear, like, I don't drink that often anymore. It's just like, that's what everyone's doing, you know, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. That was rough. I mean, a lot of people just drank a bunch this year for like, and like that was a long time ago, but I guess like this year people are just like camping and drinking. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, well, that's like the thing to do when you're camping, right? But usually you got to like pace yourself a little bit more where you don't like burn up your stomach lining and burn your leg, and you can't even drink. By like the third day, I was just like in my tent, like like it's like the infirmary.
It's the worst.
Yeah, it sucked. I was just running up the clock by that time. I was like, I'm gonna wait for everyone else to leave because like my ride is there and stuff like that. So like I had to wait. I didn't even eat. That was the other thing. I didn't even eat that whole weekend. I got one of those big like lumberjack subs from Safeway. You know, those like big ass, like they're these huge sandwiches. And I ate maybe half of it like the entire trip. So that was the other problem too, was I was just on like a non-stop, just a pure booze diet. It was, yeah, it was a little silly. I would advise my children, if I ever have children one day, not to do what their dad did on that trip.
Oh, I'm gonna have to be like, my children are never gonna be able to know anything that I did.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to redact my life story like in a serious way. I'm gonna be like Stalin photoshopping people out of pictures, like, rewriting the history books. Like, oh, you know, kids, your dad was really, I was a responsible guy, and you should be too.
Oh man, no. Okay, wait. We need to move on because this is the last segment, and we want to make sure that we finish on time. So last segment of the night, really fun segment. Whose headline is it anyway?
Yes. You want to explain the segment?
Yeah, so basically we just find really absurd headlines and then we chirp them and kind of like discuss how ridiculous they are and why. And it's really nice to know during these times to just watch something that's not about like Trump, to read something that's not about Trump, that's not about like this whole thing, even though it is hilarious. It's nice to have like funny headlines of things you're like, oh well, these people are just stupid.
It's gonna take a break. It's like you know, what's the word, like a palate cleanser, right? For the news. Everything's just doom and gloom and everything, like, you know, the world's gonna end. And yeah, now I feel like funny headlines are a nice little respite from the usual you know, skies falling stuff.
Okay, so do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first? I feel like
I've got a good one here.
Yeah.
Okay. This is probably one of my favorite ones I've seen in a while. 2-year ban from Yellowstone National Park for man caught cooking chicken in a hot spring.
Oh no!
Yeah.
No!
Yeah, it's the best. It says a group of men found themselves in hot water. Oh, hey, the news has got jokes. I love a good news pun. Okay, so yeah, found themselves in hot water after they were caught with cooking pots and 2 chickens in Yellowstone's National Park's hot spring. Ranger received reports on August 7th that a group was hiking towards Shoshone Geyser Basin, the park's largest geyser region, with cooking pots. A park spokesperson told EastIdahoNews.com on Friday. So Ranger responded. Discovered 2 whole chickens in a burlap sack sitting in a hot spring with a cooking pot nearby.
Sorry, were these live chickens?
No, not live. Like they were cooking, like they had chicken and they were gonna, I don't know, they brought it you know, they're having like, this is like Icelandic barbecue, you know, like you haven't had chicken until you've had geothermally cooked chicken.
I watched that Zac Efron thing when they made those like eggs and things in like the black sand thing, and I was like, what is going on? Okay, so I have so many questions.
Mm-hmm.
First one, like, these people have to be black. Like, are they black? I want them to be black so bad.
I don't know. It doesn't. It doesn't mention the ethnicity of the people who did it. This was in Yellowstone Park. I guess they did it. Okay, so this was what I was curious. Is like, why did they get in trouble? That seems like a kind of a victimless crime. You know, I'm like, it's silly, right? Like, it's a weird thing to do. But yeah, they got a $1,200 fine for doing this.
So you're not allowed to cook in the hot. Well, that makes sense.
I mean,
I was about to finish that sentence, and I was like, "Yeah, you can't."
you're like, wait a minute, I know my rights.
I'm practicing this amendment. Like, yeah, it's like no. Yeah, I guess you can't just like bring food. It is very smart though. It's very like street smart. Like kid in the class that's getting 50%, but actually is a genius. Like you know.
Yeah, it's resourceful. You know, it's that's like maybe they didn't have a little propane stove, or maybe there was like a fire ban that year or something like that. You know, it was really dry, and they're like, "Oh, I got a hack for this." And so I guess this is why they say, yeah, they were ordered to pay $1,200 fine for violating closures and use limits, and to serve 2 years of unsupervised probation. Wow, 2 years of probation for that.
Okay. What are there chicken laws? Like, I feel like this is very Florida. Of like Yellowstone, because you know, like in Florida, there are these laws that like will never actually be able to be enforced, but they exist because Florida is like the land of the stupidest laws. Like you're not allowed to eat an orange in your bathtub in Florida; it's against the law. But like, who would ever find you doing that? And how would that ever be? Like, you know what I mean? Like they have a lot of.
That's against the law.
It's against the law.
What? That is a super weird law. Yeah, there's some weird. Some of the states have really weird laws, like these old archaic laws. You know.
Yeah. It's like an 11-year-old just like made these laws. Like, I don't like crayons, so like they're banned. Like it's just like, what are you talking about? Like, it's just you can't. Like, that's what it sounds like. It's like, and if ever there is a man or a group of men that come upon our national park and boil chicken in our hot springs, they will have the highest. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like,
yeah, we will not stand for this.
Yeah, we'll not stand. Yeah.
These atrocities. Well, okay, so I guess it sounds like it's like a safety thing, right? Yeah, people have been injured or killed. Hot springs have injured or killed more people in the park than any other natural feature. So I guess this is like one of those for your own safety things. Sorry. You know, like
how hot are these hot springs?
Apparently pretty hot. I thought you could bathe in a hot spring. Like, maybe I'm stupid. I just thought, you know, like, isn't that a thing that people go do? They bring their swim trunks and they like bathe in the hot spring. It's like a natural hot tub.
Dude, I'm actually like, have I been thinking that these are the wrong things? Is that just like they have hot springs you can sit in, right? Like, how do people?
I thought so. Maybe not at Yellowstone. I guess they're too hot. Well, Yellowstone's got a volcano, I think, don't they? Like, they got a big ass volcano, I believe, at Yellowstone. So maybe it's just like it's too hot. Maybe it's like boiling. You know, it's like full of like, you know, there's like sulfur or something in it. Who the hell knows?
Yeah. But I feel like we need to figure out how hot this hot spring is.
Yeah.
Different levels. No, okay, that's actually really funny.
I know. Apparently, they didn't have a lifeguard at the hot springs, so yeah, people thought that they could just come along and cook chicken in it. You know, fool me once, right?
Stop that chicken from swimming.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. I have a classic headline that I actually pulled up because I forgot that this happened. Okay, so a little girl. This is the headline. Washington Post. My God, the Washington Post slogan is actually really funny. Democracy dies in darkness. Like, relax.
Yeah, well, it's a little dramatic, guys. Okay, Washington Post.
You're really going in on this. Okay, here's the headline. A little girl named ABCDE was mocked by a Southwest gate agent. The airline has apologized.
Her name is ABCDE?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a crazy name. Now, I would have mocked that girl. Like, that's like, I feel like if you have that as your name, you kind of have it coming. Like, what were the parents thinking?
Well, actually, it's good. I'm happy that you asked that.
Okay.
Because here's what her mom has to say about this. So, a Texas mother is calling out a Southwest airline employee, RIP Airlines, like, do those even exist anymore? Who said she mocked her 5-year-old daughter's name and then posted a picture of the small child's boarding pass on social media. Tracy Redford, like, she got to have a perfect name. This is the name of the mom. Tracy Redford told ABC affiliate her daughter's name is ABCDE, which is actually pronounced Absidy.
Oh. Well, that's a bougie ass name. Absidy, good God. Her name's Tracy. Like, what? Come on, lady. Like, you got it all. You got off easy. You're gonna name it's Absidy, okay? Like, you spelled it like that. Imagine it's like you're ABCDE and you're in seat F. God, what? That's crazy.
Like,
I love how they got on the high horse about it, though. And they're like, "You don't mock my daughter's name."
Yeah.
And then it's ABC News reporting it.
Like, there's too many letters.
Like, oh my God, you're pouring salt in the wound. She's gonna be traumatized.
We can only have this covered by Fox. It's later on in the alphabet. Like, yeah, it's wild.
That's insane.
I just think that, like, there has been this trend of people just using and purposely naming their kids the stupidest things. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yo, do you remember what it was like to grow up?
Yeah, no kidding. Like, you get the wrong name, you could get make your school experience a nightmare, right? Like, I'm trying to think of some people that has some funny names. When I heard about, this wasn't somebody that I knew, but my social studies teacher in grade 8 told me about a student that he had. And the student's name, this must have been like super like religious parents. I don't know if they're Jehovah's Witnesses or what they were, but the kid's name was Repent Ye of Your Sins.
No.
Yeah. And the sibling's name, I forget what the sibling's name, but it was another like a biblical quote as well, like a full sentence for a name.
No, they didn't actually do that though.
Yeah, that was apparently, he taught both students.
Like, for sure, go around repenting your sins, like, for sure, 100%, like, do that as an action, but not as your name. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, it's like the kid will introduce themselves like, "Hi, I'm Repent Ye of Your Sins," and it's like, "Hey, don't tell me what to do, kid."
Yeah, yeah, literally. I can't, because they're like, remember when Gwyneth Paltrow like started this whole chain? She started this whole thing with Apple, where she thought that was acceptable to call her child, and she's just out here like, I don't know. Name your kid Apple. Her and Chris Martin were like, yeah, is that who she was married to? Yeah, or they're still married.
Was it?
And then I was watching The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City because I'm a trash person. And I literally like looked, and I thought she was like calling her baby little, like as in like it's little, like, oh, come here, like little guy. But no, the guy, the son's name is Little. Like Little, like that's the son's name. And I was like, yo, what's happening to our world? Like, this is not okay. It's not cute.
Yeah.
Like, stop using your kid's name as an accessory, please.
Well, I feel like people want it. Like, I kind of understand the quandary of like wanting to give your kid an original name, like rather than like, oh, I'm gonna name it like David or Michael, or like some like name that's like from the Bible and a zillion people have had this name. So like people want to be original and name it something like that. But then it's like you go too outside the box, and yeah, just like you're the only kid who has that name in school. Everyone's like making fun of you. It reminds me of like, Seinfeld, where George is like, how about 7 Costanza?
No, literally.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh my God.
Bless these parents, because they're the ones that have to deal with the backlash when your kid comes home crying. Don't try to look at us like, I don't understand why kids are so mean. It's like, well, you have a helping hand.
Yeah, like I understand why they're being mean to you, because like you got a weird name. Like, your parents did that to you. Unfortunately, you're gonna end up hating them.
Yeah, seriously. Do you have another headline? I feel like
I've got a great one here. Okay, so this is another one from everyone's favorite state, Florida, the gift that keeps on giving. This is wild, man. There's a picture to go with it for anyone who's watching this. I'll bring it up on the screen here. Huge alligator spotted on Florida golf course during ETA. I don't know what ETA is, if that's like a tournament or something. Or ETA. Is that a hurricane? like Hurricane Ida. It says, while Ida's strong winds and rain pushed most people indoors, it drew out an alligator that took a stroll along a Naples golf course. So there's a lot here. So first of all, Ida, they're running out of names, hey? Like good names for hurricanes.
Can I just say this before we get into this headline? Like,
yes.
Do you know that I read an article about what you're talking about? And apparently people respect male hurricane names more than female hurricane names, because people don't respect women. So they respect the male ones, but the women names are the stronger names that actually kill people.
Really?
Isn't that weird?
People are like being sexist to hurricanes now? Good God. Yeah. Jesus. So like, what? Like the male hurricanes just tell better stories. Like,
yeah, because the article was literally like female hurricanes kill more than male hurricanes because people don't respect them, so they don't leave their houses and stuff. So it's like Hurricane John.
That's like, hilarious. Yeah,
know.
I've seen that. I've seen that they're now, doing like naming male hurricanes and stuff like that, which like, all right, gender equality, like it's 2020. We finally men get some hurricanes, like that's decent. I support that. But that's hilarious that people are thinking that the female hurricanes are not as dangerous. That's just like, where do you even get that logic? Yeah, check out the picture of this thing though. Look at this son of a bitch. This thing is, you can't really see that well, but
wow,
it's huge.
It was just on a golf course?
It's a dinosaur. Yeah, it's on a golf course. And like this has got to be the alligator that bit off Chubbs Peterson's hand and Happy Gilmore, like the big one. He's like reached in like to get my ball and the alligator bit my hand off. Like, yeah, thing is huge. In Naples, I guess there's a city in Florida called Naples. How do you pronounce it? Naples? This is like, it reminds me of that Tom Segura bit where he's talking about like cities named after like better cities, like London, Ontario. He's got that bit about the Beef Baron strip club in London, Ontario.
Yeah. London, Ontario.
Naples golf course. So yeah, there was this massive alligator. It was like 10, 15 feet, this thing on a golf course. You know how terrifying that's got to be?
I'm trying to picture how big that is. 10 to 15 feet. Oh yeah, that's like 2 social distancings.
Yeah, exactly. That's like that. That's pretty much exactly it. That is huge. Well, almost 3, because what, 6 feet, right? So yeah, 10. Well, I don't know how 10 to 15. How do you ballpark and it's like a 5-foot gap?
We're dissecting.
Yeah, like not very. They're really leaving a wide window for that one. But there's another one here because we got a couple of minutes, and this is a quick one. This is another golf course related headline. An Amazon driver took a wrong turn onto a golf course, then wedged his truck in a golf cart tunnel. And the picture's amazing. It's got this guy, and he's just driving. He tried to drive it through a tunnel it's like a cube van, and he tried to pull it through a tunnel. Yeah, that's like for golf carts, and he got it stuck. And so I guess people didn't get their deliveries in 24 hours and were probably very upset.
Did he not think that like that wasn't going to work out?
I guess he didn't measure, He's just like, men have this blind confidence when it comes to their driving, an estimation of measurements. Yeah, like, you can already tell this is a male driver for sure. And I love that. And they got another one of those great little headline like puns at the beginning where it just says, drivers are commonplace on the golf course, but not like this.
But not like this.
Yeah. Oh, that is amazing. Well, that's pretty awesome. I really enjoyed that. All right. Well, I guess we're getting towards the end here of the show. So we can.
Those were really good headlines, actually. It's the gift that keeps giving. But yeah, we should wrap it up. It's really fun. I'm glad that we came out and did some controlled chaos because honestly, the second lockdown is crazy. So this is what we'll be doing for a while.
It's about to get real. Yes, we'll be broadcasting from the bunker. So this show can also be heard on the Barnburner Radio Network on its 122 platforms, folks. Please check out barnburner.ca for all the news and programming. And that is Barnburner.
Watch it.
Hear it.
Read it.
Download it.
Live it.
Live it, ladies and gentlemen. And that is another broadcast. Thank you very much for joining us at Controlled Chaos.
We'll see you guys.
Yeah, we'll catch you guys next week. So be sure to tune in. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.